Welcome back to Be My Beard. On this episode, Michael reflects on phantasmagorical vignettes from the past and self-actualizing against the odds. Izzy sips on an iced no-ice maple latte and explains bluegrass. Klaus derides bootcut jeans and contemplates porcelain portraits. This and more on this episode of Be My Beard.
All right, so last week, you were talking about
my boyfriend came home. Well,
your ex-boyfriend came home,
from,
and what we didn't catch in the audio that was lost, but you definitely talked about, was you got to show him Sacramento and you got to show him where you lived. So let's start there. Like, you're showing him. You felt a little sad because you were just letting him talk about like everything that was exciting for him.
Yeah. My ex came back from Illinois visiting for the summer, little summer vacation. It was really hard. It was really emotional seeing him again after so long had passed. Because, you have long distance breakups. You have so much time apart to, I guess, rehabilitate and to figure things out again. But then when you see each other in person for the first time in however long, no matter, we had established, okay, we can be friends, like this is fine, having conversations, every now and then over the phone, but then seeing him in person was just like my heart slammed into a brick wall. But part of me coping with that was just listening to him talk about how he's been doing and how his summer has been and what he's been up to and how excited he was to see me after all this time, and just sort of taking that all in. So after a while had passed, I started showing him around. I'd lived in Sacramento for a few months at that point. I was pretty established with where I lived and all that. So we walked around and talked more about things that weren't, so serious, a bit more lighthearted in conversation. And then eventually towards, that hours into us hanging out, we ended up at my house where I was a little nervous about asking him, like, if this is something that he wanted to see, because, well, in my head, I had moved to Sacramento with the intention of finding a place that he could also move into. Even when we weren't together, that was like, well, you never know. But he came in, and that was really lovely because, like I was saying earlier, I just really love to share things that are important to me, things that make me happy. And
you were next to a coffee shop.
And I lived right next to a coffee shop, which was my dream. It was the sign that I needed. Like, I always fantasized about living next to a coffee shop and going downstairs in my pajamas from wherever I lived to go to, some nearby coffee place and just chill. And literally where I live is right next door to one of the best coffee shops in Sacramento.
What's that coffee shop
called? They're called Milka Coffee Roasters. They're beautiful. I
love
not
sponsored.
Not
but
sponsored,
we love them.
But we love them.
I'm literally drinking one of their maple lattes as we speak.
But I knew that was a sign. I knew that was it. Like, okay, Michael, this is where you're going to live. And this is where you're going to, start things. And I got to share that with my ex. And we talked for a few more hours. And I started, because I was somewhere comfortable, I started getting really vulnerable. And I just straight up asked him, like, so do you really not see us ever getting back together ever again? And he told me no, because he felt like that wasn't who we were to each other anymore. And he wouldn't have made the decision, he wouldn't have started the conversation of us breaking up if he didn't really feel like that was what we were meant to be for each other, is to be friends. I told him, it was really hard. Obviously, it was really hard. Like, I couldn't see anything that I could learn from this. I couldn't see anything that I could use and grow from. All that I was able to see from it and experience from it was how in pain I was and how much I couldn't continue growing with someone, how much it hurt for me to have the person that I loved more than anything tell me that they wanted to grow in life without me, but all that I wanted was to continue growing in my life with them. And it was that night when I learned what I now know to be the expansion of a soulmate. Up until that point, I was very much in the mindset that this is my soulmate. This is my person. This is who I want to be with for the rest of my life. And I didn't have that anymore. But everything that we had experienced that day, I realized, you can have a soulmate that isn't a romantic partner. You can have a soulmate who's a friend, one of your closest friends, or a family member, or what have you. And from there, I was able to have some kind of comfort, like after everything that I have been through, laying myself completely bare for this person, like he was still there for me and I was still going to be there for him. And he's still one of my best friends and he's a soulmate, he's one of my soulmates. And I think that that's beautiful. I think that for the longest time, I thought that this person was just gone from my life. But in the long run, I think that this person just became what they were always meant to be for me and for us. I have this sort of romantic sense that your life is spent under a sky. And all the stars in your sky are made up of the people that are in your life, all the important people. And for the longest time, it felt like he was a star that went out, and that made me panic. I didn't know what to do. And after everything that we had gone through, after that night that we spent together, I found it again. That star in my sky that I thought was gone was just in a different place, and in a place that it was probably always meant to be. So everything that I experienced with my ex that night, seeing him again after so long, it really put a lot of myself into perspective. It's when I really realized, okay, that star is still there and there's still so much room left. I have so much room left to grow, and I'm just going to live in Sacramento and I'm just going to do my thing. I know that he's always going to be there. I know that we're always going to be friends. And now I can truly start exploring who I am as an individual, as a person on my own, and see what I'm really, truly capable of, not living in Atwater anymore, not being near my family, not being near my family, like being out of school. I just had so much room to grow. And a lot of that I owe to my ex, who's now, again, one of my best friends, because he showed that to me. That just because we're not together anymore doesn't mean that we can't be in each other's lives, doesn't mean that we still can't mean as much to each other. It's just things are so much wider and more broad, and we owe it to ourselves to experience those things. So I did. I didn't keep to myself, but, I worked hard at my job. I spoke to my family a lot, despite not living there with them, still visiting them and keeping close with my parents and my siblings, making new friends all the time, and just really learning about, okay, how do I want my life to be in terms of my relationships? What kinds of people do I want in my life? What kinds of environments do I want to be in? And after I had started meeting people, making new friends, making new, relationships, I got to a point in which I was comfortable to date again. I felt confident enough in myself, and I thought, you know what? Cool. I live in Sacramento. Let's explore the romantic part of Sacramento a little bit. So, went on a few dates. That was really exciting. And then I met another boy. It was very exciting in that he was very different from anybody I had ever dated before, physically. When we met up, it was, typical at a coffee shop, whatever. He didn't remember what my name was. We didn't.
Wait, what did he think your name was?
He didn't know what my name was. He had forgotten my name.
So he was just like, "Hey, you from?"
Well, no. It was he was able. It was very natural. We like hung out, and it never came to the point in which he had to ask my name. Whatever. I'm like, all right, cool. Like I knew his name, because I'm classy. Mm-hmm. But so initially, it was just supposed to be like, well, He told me I have some time before I need to make dinner, so like, yeah, let's hang out, grab a cup of coffee, get to know each other, whatever. So we had hung out, we met up like we agreed, and we had such a good time that he told me, you know what, you want to just get dinner together? And I'm like, okay, let's go. So we go to some Thai restaurant, and then after a while he's like, this is going really well, and I'm really worried about messing it up, but I have to ask you, what's your name? I laughed so hard. I took it really well. It was really funny, totally understandable, because I'm like, yeah, whatever. Guy like this probably talks to all kinds of boys. My name's Michael. How are you? And from then on, it was funny. It was a joke. And then the rest of the date went on to just get better and better. We had a really great time. And we ended up spending the night together, and then the next morning he took me home on a motorcycle.
Ooh.
Yeah, he
isn't it thrilling?
Pulled out the big guns. Oh my gosh. So, I had these big old heart googly eyes going on, and it was really fun and invigorating for me getting to share myself with somebody when I'm fully confident in who I am. I'm like, okay, like I know I still got stuff to figure out, but I know me. Everything that I went through with my ex before, everything that I went through, moving away and getting my degree in art history, like all of this stuff has culminated into this moment, and I can just fully experience things for me. And me, I love to share things that I love with other people. And for the first time, I was able to share myself because I completely loved myself. And that was exciting for me. And so started dating this boy after, I don't know, maybe like 2 weeks or so. We went to a music festival together in San Francisco, the Hardly Strictly Bluegrass Festival. That was a lot of fun.
What kind of music is it?
It was a lot of bluegrass. Yeah, bluegrass.
I don't know what bluegrass is.
It's sort of like country music, but not really. Country. Yeah, more folk. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
It was really neat. It was really interesting. People offered me a lot of different drugs. I said no because I'm
a sweet baby angel.
I'm a sweet baby angel. But that was a fun thing that I got to experience with this person that I was dating. Like he had already planned to go to this festival on his own. He had a hotel, and he was like, you know what? This is going really well between you and I. Do you want to come with me? And I said, yeah, absolutely. So
had you listened to bluegrass music before, or was this like a new experience?
It was, okay, the only artist that I was familiar with was the artist that did the song Ocean Man at the end of the SpongeBob SquarePants movie. And I was like, okay, like I know that band. That's a great song. They didn't play that song.
You're
but I'm
I
like,
know SpongeBob.
Yeah, I know SpongeBob. I know that one song. But it was a really good time getting to experience a music festival that I never thought that I'd be able to, that I never thought I would go to, that I would never have gone to on my own. Mm-hmm. Just so many stringed instruments and a lot of just spoken word, people just strumming the guitar. It was beautiful. It was art. It was, everything that I love. Where was I?
Music festival.
Back on track. Music festival, San Francisco. It was wonderful. And around that time, we had been together for I think a few months, and I told him, I'm starting to get real feelings for him. I could see myself falling in love, and just being completely transparent with where I was. And
which is a normal, healthy way to handle a relationship.
Right. That was definitely another one of those things that I learned about myself and in being in relationships in general, was just, being transparent with one another. So after I had shared that and we were more or less on the same page, he sort of returned that too. It's like, great, awesome.
He said he was like also having feelings.
He said, I don't remember what his exact words were, but
it was a positive interaction.
It was a positive interaction. It was a positive reaction to what I had said. So I assumed, okay,
am I the foretelling enough here? Like, am I foreshadowing?
Well, okay, so a little more time goes by. I'm with this dude until I think it was a little bit before Halloween. I was very excited about Halloween. I love Halloween. One of my friends, because after living in Sacramento for a while, I had made a lot of new friends. One of them told me, hey, like, are you available this day? Like, let's hang out. And I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. He comes over, and he had never met the person that I was dating. He had never met this person. And he said, so I wanted to ask you something, and it's kind of serious. And I said, oh, okay. All right. So he opens up Tinder, and...
Oh, I said Grindr earlier. My bad.
He opens up Tinder, and he says, is this your boyfriend? And I looked at it, and I said, yeah. Well, where's this going? And he said, well, we matched on Tinder yesterday. And I was really taken aback. Like, okay, wow, that sucks. Great. I guess I'm breaking up with him. And it was, I don't want to say exciting, but it was,
adrenaline was pumping.
I guess so. Yeah. So I thought about what I was going to do for a while. And then the next day I decided, I need to break up with this person, or if not break up with them, we need to talk about this because this isn't cool. So I decided, okay, we obviously need to have a conversation about this. It needs to be in person. Mm-hmm. We made plans to meet up the next day, and the very first thing I said, I think, when I saw him was, so my friend matched with you on Tinder the other day. Do you want to tell me what that's about? And he didn't lie. He didn't try to make any excuses or anything. He said, yeah, I've been on dating apps and I've been talking to people. And I said, well, why? Like, that's never something that we spoke about with one another. That's, that something like that wouldn't be cool for me. Mm-hmm. And he told me, it was really kind of intimidating when you told me that you were starting to get feelings for me. And I don't know if I'm ready to start being in a relationship with somebody in that way. And I told him, well, that's fine how you feel, but why didn't you tell me this when I first presented this to you? Why did you lead me to believe that the way that I was feeling was okay when for you it obviously wasn't? And he just went on to tell me, I feel like I really want to just be friends. I really enjoy hanging out with you. You make me feel really good. I think that you're really good for me, and I hope that we can still be friends. And I told him, I don't think that that's the smart thing to do. I don't think that would be very fair for me with us both knowing how I feel towards you. I don't think that friends do that to each other. You very obviously went behind my back and knew that that wasn't something I was going to be okay with, and I had to find out about it. And that's not okay, and we have to break up.
Yeah, kudos for you for knowing your boundaries and respecting yourself and standing up for yourself.
It was hard, but I was very clear-headed when I said it. There was of course there was emotion tied to it, but I wasn't being driven by my emotions. I knew that this is the right thing that I needed to do for myself and the right thing that I needed to do for him. He wasn't ready to be in a romantic relationship at that level, and that was that. And we haven't spoken since. This was quite a while ago now, more than a year ago.
I remember it like yesterday.
Oh, yes.
I hope it was more than a year ago.
It was way more than a year ago, actually. But it was the first time, again, that I had ever, set a boundary for myself and said, okay, no, this is what I need to do. This is the right thing. Mm-hmm. And one of the things that I'm very happy and blessed to be able to say about myself is that I feel like I can say that I do the right thing and that the people that I have in my life are good for me and that I'm good for them.
You're very honorable too. That's like whenever I think about you, like if I was like to describe you, I would definitely say honorable.
Honorable.
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
Like you're very caring and you're very thoughtful and you have like this like sense of honor of like what is right and what is wrong and like the best way to be kind to people within those like realms.
And that's one of the things that I absolutely strive for is to be kind. You know, at the end of the day, if anything at all, just to be kind. And I'm very grateful that I am kind because especially with the environment that I grew up in and the mentality of all of that, they just, I don't want to say that they're not kind, but kindness isn't necessarily part of my family's culture in terms of
tough masculine trait.
A lot of tough, toxic masculinity. But I mean, me living away from all of that has been really healthy for me, and that everything is purely me and purely my own. And like I was saying before, I had no example to follow, and everything that I am doing is purely my own. My relationship with my parents has gotten a lot better. I mean, I've always been really close with my mom, but with my dad in particular, like we never argue anymore. We really love seeing each other and being around each other, and I'm able to have a healthy relationship with my dad, which I am incredibly grateful for. And it's something that I cherish very much. So going through what I went through with, you know, boyfriend who matches with my friends on dating apps behind my back, I came out of it growing even more. And I'm very grateful for that. So after all that business, I sort of went into that same mentality of like, okay, nurture my friendships, nurture myself, work hard. When I feel like I'm ready to date again, I'll date again. But that's not my goal right now. Right now, I'm just learning more and more about myself.
So you took some time, you worked on yourself, and then when you were ready, you got back into the dating scene.
Oh, yeah. As every gay person does, I think.
I think that's
probably
all
not,
people.
but okay. Well, I don't know anything about straight people.
We don't know anything about heteros.
Oh, nothing about that.
Is dating gay?
For those of you that are in the back row, Enzo said, fellas, is dating gay.
You know, honestly, it's really interesting whenever I think about the things that we have to go through as gay people, as particularly gay men, that straight men don't have to go through. You know, a majority of us, I didn't learn about how to be in a healthy relationship because we're gay. And that's not something that we're introduced to.
Straight men are also not introduced on how to be in a healthy relationship.
Right, but straight men don't ever have to worry about their relationships being normal.
Straight men have The Bachelor and like reality TV shows. The only gay reality TV shows are hella toxic or like they're catty bitches.
Is very toxic.
I know, but what I'm getting at is like there's, I don't know. Obviously, it's toxic
because
it's a TV show.
Have you ever dated a straight man?
Yes.
It is a nightmare, honey.
I have dated a straight man. I mean, it was all right.
I will say that, like, if Daniel and I broke up, I would not date again. I just, like, could not put the energy into it.
I thought you said that you would try dating a woman.
Everybody.
This is okay. Let me take that back. I wouldn't try straight dating again.
Everybody has their struggles. Everybody has their, you know, things that they go through. But it's just, I sometimes think about, you know, what kind of person would I be if I were straight? If I hadn't gone through, you know, that whole Power Rangers little dream that I had when I was a kid, you know? Like, did we talk about
Did you
that?
just pop open your shirt?
No, my shirt was already open. No, I popped up in my mouth. Like, I jaw dropped because on your Instagram the other day, you posted your Power Ranger shirt. And I wanted to be like, ooh, Green Ranger.
No,
But I was
no.
like, maybe that's out of pocket. I don't know. We fantasize about Green Ranger.
I think that unison is a beautiful thing, and being able to be a friend to people, be a friend to a person despite your differences is one of the most valuable things that we can have as human beings. So it's so wonderful that I have the opportunity, not just as a gay person, a queer person, but just as a person in general, to be able to share my struggles in a way that is beautiful, in a way that is helpful to other people, in a way in which I can know that I learned from it and that I wasn't, I don't want to say victimized by it. Every adversity that I've gone through, I've been able to make the most of it, and I've been able to learn from it, and I've been able to be there for other people who might be going through something similar to what it was that I went through. I think that as a person, when you have some sort of privilege, whether it be your experiences or the color of your skin or what economic class you're in, I think that as a person, if you are in a place of privilege, you have a moral responsibility to give back to those who don't necessarily have that privilege. Good old J.K. Rowling said that, and it struck a chord with me. So, something that I firmly believe in. I'm very happy that I have the opportunity to forge my own path and therefore be an example for people like my siblings. It's very important to me that I show my little brother, for example, like, hey, you can do whatever the hell you want. You can move away. You can learn so much about yourself, break down every boundary that growing up poor places in front of you. You can be whatever you want to be. It's going to be hard, and you're going to face heartbreak, and you're going to face so much red tape, and you're going to doubt yourself so much. But if I can do it, you can do it. And I can help you get there if you want me to. I'm very happy that I'm in that sort of position. Being reaffirmed in all of my values, knowing the kind of person that I am, knowing the kind of example I want to be, and being even more proud of myself because I never had an example to follow. I'm able to say that every single day I'm more reaffirmed in myself, and all the more excited to share myself with the people that I care about. And I'm so happy that I've maintained a heart that is still willing to let people in. So when I met my current partner, the person that I currently love most in this world, I was in a place where I've never been happier to be me. It was another one of those dates that was just, meet up at a coffee shop. Let's just, very, I guess, generic. Something that I felt like, he probably, doesn't really see this going anywhere. I don't know, this really handsome guy. I always do that to myself too. Even as proud as myself as I can be, I always put myself down when I compare myself to like people that, I don't know, I'm about to go on a date with or what have you.
They're all in your goddamn league.
But anyway, I get there first, and it's this coffee shop in Sacramento called The Mill. They serve waffles there. They're really yummy. I love their waffles. I just love waffles in general. I love breakfast food. But anyway, we can get back to that later.
But not as much as Michael.
But not as much as
Or Pikachu.
So, talking to this boy for a little while, and we have the same name, and I'm like, is this okay with you? Like, my first name is technically Robert. You can call me that. And he's like, no, I'm not calling you Robert for personal reasons. And I'm like, okay, that's fine. Call me Michael then. So we meet up, and, you meet people sometimes. When you meet people that make you realize that sometimes fairy tales are a little true. Fairy tales, you meet someone, love at first sight, or what have you. The most positive thing happens in the world, and every fairy tale, almost every fairy tale. This boy walks in, and that sky that I was talking about earlier, like with all the stars and whatnot, it was just clear as day. Like, wow, I found another star. And it's just discovering something like that is so fascinating. Like if you follow NASA on Twitter, like they post some pretty fascinating stuff about stars. So it can be quite exhilarating to experience a new star. And that is exactly what happened when I met Michael. Just everything felt natural. Everything felt normal. Everything felt exciting and new and just sort of everything all at once. It was magical and it was a fairy tale. And we've been together for almost a year now. And he's another soulmate, He's a soulmate in that very classical sense of this is the person that I could see myself spending the rest of my life with, and growing with all over again. Breaking down all those boundaries, relearning things, learning new things about me, learning new things about him, learning new things about our environment and our friends and our world together, and being able to share what we love with one another without fear of judgment, without fear of ridicule, or without any fear. And that's beautiful. It's one of the most valuable things that I have. I think that everybody that's in my life right now is absolutely meant to be there. And I know that I'm happier than I've ever been in my life. A lot of it has to do with Michael. A lot of it has to do with me and my growth. A lot of it is my family. The rest of it is my friends. And just that starry sky, man. And Pikachu.
So at the end of our podcasts, we always ask our guest, who was your beard? Who helped you get to, or what helped you get to this place that you are at now?
Going through it, as every gay person does. The one constant in my life has been my best friend, Dallas Fosek. He lives in Texas. He didn't live in Texas when we met.
Dallas in Dallas?
We met.
I was gonna say.
No.
I was like, hold on.
No.
This is crucial information.
So Dallas and I met on www.myspace.com many years ago. Many years ago when I was in high school. And just the more and more we got to know each other, the more and more we started valuing each other. It was just one of those relationships that was, just purely transparent from the jump. This was somebody that I never had to hide that I was gay from. He never had to hide anything either. And we clicked so well, and yet at the same time we were so different. He can be pretty mean. He could be a douchebag at times. He is so... Oh my God.
You need that. You need somebody who's going to be a douchebag.
Dallas is literally that person.
Leave my accent alone.
Dallas is literally that person that would punch somebody in a bar for me. Like he's...
You do need that.
Yeah.
Because I've never been in a fight before. So yeah, I definitely need somebody like that in my life. But he's just always been there for me. He's somebody that I could call to for whatever reason. We finish each other's sandwiches. We just know what the other person is going to do before each of us does it. And he's one of the people that I value the most in my life. And he absolutely helped me be comfortable with who I am and be comfortable with expressing who I am, not just with my homosexuality, but with who I am as a person, me putting myself out there. He was a big help when I was debating whether or not I should move away for the first time. Like he absolutely gave me the confidence to do that. And I wouldn't be the person that I am without him. So yeah.
You never answered, is Dallas in Dallas?
Dallas does not currently live in Dallas.
God damn it.
He I don't remember the name of the town he lives in Texas. Fort? Is it? No, it's not Fort. Fort Bragg. Fort
Bragg is here.
It's not, no. Fort Worth. It's not Fort Worth either.
Fort Worth is a place?
Yeah.
Well, He lives in Texas.
He lives in Texas, and
in
he's
Texas.
very Texan. He loves his guns.
Does he like that
He loves-
everything's bigger?
Yes.
Is he also gay?
He is. Yeah, Dallas is also gay, which was, I don't know. I loved having another person that I could be gay with, I guess you could say, growing up in, high school, and we could just talk about whatever we wanted with one another, including being gay. So I can't imagine my life without him. Dallas is my beard.
And do we have another beard you need to talk about? A small yellow beard.
With a cute detective hat.
Oh
And
my
a cute
gosh.
tail.
Oh my gosh. Did we go over how I was spoken to by the Detective Pikachu Instagram?
We need to cover that.
Oh
I think that
my
we should
gosh.
start with how you love Pikachu and then.
So, I love Pokemon. It's this wonderful, beautiful franchise that's developed by Game Freak and published by Nintendo. Pokemon are beautiful. I love Pikachu. He's great. It's one of those silly things that I'm able to share with people because I'm so excited about it. It's just this purely positive thing that teaches kids about the value of diversity and teamwork and, all of these important core values with all these cute little creatures in it. So I was making coffee one day where I work, and there was a photographer there, and I had no idea that they were there.
Don't you lie to me. We were looking right at each other.
I was just doing my thing, making coffee on
Being hella cute.
A siphon.
hell cute. We have these things at my, where I work, they're called siphons. They're like these very fun sort of chemistry way of brewing coffee. It's really fun to look at and experience. So I was posted on my store's Instagram. And how did I get Detective Pikachu's attention?
So basically, on the Instagram, I was in charge of it. On each post, I would have a partner, and then with that partner, I would have a cute little bio. And I had asked Michael what he wanted to say for his bio. Like, what was something, like one interesting fact about you? And he was like, well, I'm really excited for Detective Pikachu to come out. He knew the release date. He had already bought his ticket. So I was like, okay, whatever. I'm going to tag Detective Pikachu in this. And then go ahead. Tell me what happened.
And then he noticed me. Oh my gosh, the little guy. He, whoever moderates the Detective Pikachu Instagram account, noticed me.
So the whole thing was, it says, so this is on the page here on Instagram. It says, meet Michael. He is a 5-year partner here at the Reserve Bar. He loves bacon Gouda breakfast sandwiches and is really excited about the Detective Pikachu movie and Pokemon in general. Michael's favorite beverage is our Nitro Cascara Cloud, and he likes long walks on the beach. And then Detective Pikachu movie said, oh, Michael, did we just become best friends?
Yes.
Do you want to read what you said?
And then Michael said, yes, and I will make you all the coffee you need to solve your mysteries. Heart emoji, lightning emoji.
It was one of those experiences that was just like that Evanescence thing all over again, where like I teared up and I called my mom and I told my friends. I'm like, So it was, one of the more beautiful moments in my life. I will always remember it. I didn't even know they were taking photos that day. Like, oh my gosh, just what are the odds,
Wild.
Oh my God.
Golly. I'm just so naturally photogenic. Oh my God.
Me creating best moments.
Yeah.
All right. Is there anything else you want to cover? Anything else you want to talk about? Anything you want to plug?
Okay, I'm just going to include our listeners. So basically, 40 minutes of audio were lost, and it was the second half of Michael's interview. So this is the second time that we are recording it. Here we are. But the difference in like the first interview and this one right now, I really like how you talked about your parents now versus then and how much you get along. I think that that's very important, and we didn't really touch bases on it last time. I thought that was beautiful.
Yeah, but last time him and Michael almost kissed, and it made me want to cry. And now Michael's not here.
I don't remember that.
They were like giving googly hard eyes, and I was like, no kid.
All like tearing
kid.
up together.
And I was like, yes, said no kid. Just sitting over here like watching it unfold. It was beautiful.
Can you say big again one more time?
Okay, I also have an accent when I say podcast.
You did that on purpose.
It's very difficult for me to say podcast
There we go.
without an accent.
That
like,
sounded
I have to,
like you had to push it out.
No, I have to
There's
like
a lot
really
of
like
effort.
think about the word podcast when I say it. Otherwise, it becomes podcast.
You know what? There's no ASL sign for podcasts. Like you have to finger spell it. I think that there should be a sign for podcast.
We can make one.
Invent one.
It's
Did we get that?
I hope so.
That was like Nicholas.
You have to be like really involved in the ASL community. That's my understanding from Erin. We'll be interviewing her coming soon. I've learned a lot from her, but even to like earn your sign name, you have to be really involved in the ASL community. You have to be like fluent in the language.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful community once you're in it.
Okay, but back. Is there anything else you wanted to plug, talk about, like cover? Anything we kind of missed? This is your
at yourself on Instagram.
Yeah, if you want to at yourself on Instagram.
I think that it's a beautiful thing that you guys are doing and that you're giving, whether it just only be, you know, the queer community of Sacramento, but just ordinary people in general to tell their stories and to talk about who they are and to talk about what they love. Because, you know, it's so easy to listen to podcasts or interviews or whatever with like well-known celebrities or well-established individuals and to just, you know, that's very accessible. But for things like this, it's a lot more relatable for, I guess you can say, ordinary people, you know, people that you wouldn't necessarily idolize, but you can relate to them all the more because they're not idols, you know? So I think that I'm very grateful to be a part of this. And I really hope that somebody is able to listen to my stories or one of the many stories that you guys give soapboxes to and think, you know, like if they can do it, I can do it. Or I didn't think about life, or I didn't have this kind of perspective before. Like I didn't think about this idea. How interesting. Maybe I can apply that to my life. Or to have people start conversations with you on your social media or what have you about, you know, asking you questions, you guys able to give those answers based upon the stories that you showcase or your own stories.
And we will have a Patreon community where people can share their own experiences and stuff.
In terms of, you know, me and my personal plugs, I guess, you know, my Instagram is at hello, yes, this is Michael. I post lots of things about art that I love and music that I love and
coffee.
And coffee.
And you playing piano.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
There are a few videos of me, you know, playing the piano and doing my thing.
Do you want to end by telling Evanescence you love them?
I mean, I think that they already know.
It doesn't need to be
Shout
said.
out to Tom and his wife.
Tim.
I'm going to edit that shit out.
Shout out to Tim and his wife for being so kind to me and being such great customers. Thanks for listening to my story.
Beautiful.
Neat.
Finito. Finn. Goodbye.
Yes.
What is that? Good night, Gracie.
What the hell is that?
It's from this old broadcast thing. This guy's daughter, like, would watch his show, and she wouldn't go to bed unless he, like, said goodnight. And so he ended every show by saying, like, good night, Gracie. I don't know, some old white man.
That's really cute. I love white people.
We're done. We're done.
So we're done.
Would you like to be our next guest? Email us at bemybeardpodcast@gmail.com.
Give us a follow on Facebook, Instagram, or YouTube, and let us know what you'd like to hear.
Support us on Patreon at patreon.com/bemybeardpodcast.
Theme by the marvelous Wayne Jetski. We'd also like to give a special thanks to Miles Mitchell, our lovely editor. We are forever grateful to Enzo Arona for being our studio director.
All rights reserved.
We would like to thank you, our listeners, for joining us on this journey.
Follow your heart.
And be the best you can be.